Once upon a time in the lush and fertile land of Amir there lived a wealthy prince named Uso. Uso was unlike any other nobleman in the kingdom. Though he had power and wealth, his heart was as vast as the open skies, brimming with kindness and generosity. The villagers adored him, and he in turn treated them as his extended family. Every week Uso would load cats with sacks of rice, yam, and other food items, and distribute them to the town folks. He ensured the children of the less fortunate went to school, paying their fees, and even providing them with uniforms and books. When night fell over the rural areas, it was Oo's streetlights that illuminated the dusty paths, ensuring safety for travelers on festive days. His grand mansion's gates were thrown open for the poor and hungry to come and feast. Us's deeds were spoken of far and wide, and the people hailed him as their hero. Uso, the heart of Amir, they called him. Yet amidst all his admiration there was one person who questioned his actions. His young son Chikchi felt the villagers were only singing his father's praise and swarming around him because he solves their problems and not because they truly care about him. One cool evening, as they sat beneath the sprawling mango tree in their courtyard, Chik asked, "Father, why you give so much to the people? Shouldn't they learn to fend for themselves?" Usa smiled and rested a gentle hand on his son's shoulder. "My boy, life is unpredictable. Wealth and power can vanish like the morning mist. If I ever fall on her times, the kindness I have sown will return to me. The people I help to today will help me tomorrow." Chi tilted his head thoughtfully. "Are you sure, father? What if they don't?" "Who's a chad, my son? I am deliberately trying to cultivate a culture of generosity amongst the people of this town for years now. I'm sure they will collectively come to the aid of anyone who is struggling, because this town is a small one and everyone knows everyone well. I think they are only pretending to care because of what they gain from you. Let us put their loyalty to the test." Chick said, "If you become poor today, how many of them will take you in and care for you as much as you have cared for them?" Buo thought deeply about it for a while and sighed heavily. "Okay, let's put it to a test then, but I assure you the villagers have a good heart and care about me. They will lend me help, you see." Intrigued Chicken nodded in agreement and walked back to his chambers. The next day Oo vanished from his grand mansion. He left behind his royal robes, wore the tattered clothes of a beggar, and took to the streets pretending that he had lost his fortune. At first the villagers were shocked. "Is that Prince Oo?" they whispered as he walked through the marketplace with an empty bowl, but shock soon turned to whispers of this day. How could a prince squander his wealth? They sneered. He must have spent heavily on gold and silk without making any great investments. They jeered at him. Uso walked from door to door asking the villagers for help. Their responses were cruel. "Go find a job, you beggar," one man backed. "After all you gave, you should have saved for yourself," another woman added, shaking her head. Some spot at him, others chased him away like a stray dog. One night, as it rained, Uso took shelter in the town chief's. The chief was informed by his workers, and he ordered them to send Oo out in the rain. "Chase that beggar prince out of my young bar. He has lost his fortune, and now desperate he might steal my yam," the chief yelled from his heart. O was thrown out under the rain, stared and mocked by the same people he had loved, cared for, and provided for days past, and Oo experienced the bitterness of rejection. The people who once sang his praise had turned their backs on him. They gave him leftover meals made for their animals. They subjected him to hard labor with little to no pay. They called him names for squandering his wealth and not saving enough money for rainy days. None of them remembered to be kind to him for his generosity and love for the town. Exhausted and disheartened, Usa returned home to his son. "You were right, Ch," Usa said with a heavy heart. "The loyalty was only as deep as their pockets. They treated me with disdain, as if I was plagued with an ailment. I thought they loved me as much as I loved them." Chi placed a comforting hand on his father's shoulder. "At least now you know where their heart truly lies," he said. Determined to expose the villagers' hypocrisy, Uso returned to his royal life. He washed away the gem of his disguise, dressed in his finest robes, and reopened the gate of his grand mansion. As soon as the news spread, the same villagers who had scorned him came rushing to his door, singing his praises louder than ever. "Prince, we knew it. We knew you would bounce back. We knew you would get your fortune back and continue to be our savior. Forgive us for not helping you. We are not as wealthy as you are, and we didn't know what to do or how to help you," they cried, holding out their hands for gifts. But this time O's kindness was replaced by stern resolve. Standing tall at the gate of his royal home, he addressed the crowd. "You claimed to love me, yet when I was poor and in need, you turned your backs on me. You mocked me, spat at me, and chased me away. Now that I'm wealthy again, you seek my favor. Shame on you." Oo roared at the crowd. The crowd fell silent, their heads hanging in guilt. Oza continued, his voice steady, "But true kindness is not about giving only when it's easy or convenient. It is about standing by those In need just as I stood by you all these years, you have failed not just me, but yourselves. With that, Oza dismissed the crowd, closing the gates to his mansion. From that day on, he was more selective in his generosity, focusing on those who truly needed and appreciated his help. The villagers, meanwhile, learned a bitter lesson. They realized that generosity is a two-way street, and that they had squandered an opportunity to repay kindness with kindness. From then on, they strived to be better, sharing what little they had with their neighbors and treating everyone with dignity regardless of their status. As for Prince Uso, he continued to teach his son the value of giving, but he also taught him the importance of wisdom and discernment. Together they walked to build a community that valued compassion not just for the rich, but for anyone, and in this way the tale of Or's test became a legend, inspiring generations to come. This is the end of my story.